This episode of Shaman King covers chapters 136 to 139 of the manga, so only 4 chapters this time round. We finally get the long-awaited reunion of Lyserg and Yoh after Lyserg defected to the X-Laws. But he doesn't exactly look too happy being part of the X-Laws, or is it just me? At least when Lyserg was with Yoh and the others, he was smiling more. Ever since he joined the X-Laws, he's been miserable. He was very happy to see Yoh, especially when he mentioned that he was grateful that Yoh made a bit of a trek just to come and see him. What I loved about this opening scene with these two is that there's no arguing, no drama, just a reunion between two friends. How often does that happen? Lyserg mentions that he felt he betrayed Yoh by leaving them for the X-Laws, which is why he apologized to Yoh. And in a way, you can actually go by that argument. The X-Laws are just as bad as How, plain and simple. They kill those who they believe is against them, and if you're not with them, you're with How. With that logic, Yoh and his friends are enemies with the X-Laws, so in that way you can look at them as the bad guys and that Lyserg really did betray Yoh. Or you can look through Yoh's positive glasses and see that Lyserg just wanted to do what's best for himself. Yoh just wanted to see if Lyserg was okay. Look how mature that is. Shaman King is actually one of the most mature shonens out there, which is exemplified through its characters. The messed up backstories which involve certain heroes such as Ren and Chokolov being murderers in their past, as well as in this episode where Yoh took the high road instead of arguing with Lyserg on why he left the crew, which would have been understandable if Yoh asked that. The series doesn't follow the usual cliches, which is what makes it so unique, or better yet, it follows certain cliches but then flips on them and makes them its own thing. The friend that turned to the dark side with the heroes trying to convince them to come back. Yoh just checks in on Lyserg to see if he's doing well. The cliche of every shonen hero to be the best or the strongest in their series, such as Luffy wanting to be the Pirate King, Naruto wanting to be Hokage, Deku wanting to be the world's greatest hero, and many more. But Yoh, he just wants an easy life. Yes, he wants to be the Shaman King, but he only wants to be the Shaman King because he feels that's the only way where he can have a life of ease. The constant love interest between the main protagonist and one of the main female characters. Here, Yoh and Anna are set in stone, so there's none of that nonsense with the teasing of a romance between the main hero and one of the female leads. These are some of the cliches, and one of the best cliches is a major spoiler towards the end of the series, which I won't be mentioning as it is a spoiler. But the series doesn't follow the usual trends, which I think is what makes the series so loved. However, one person who is not on the good books with Yoh is Marco. He is such a prick, especially to Lyserg, where he doesn't just slap him, he straight up punches him out in the manga. And I can't lie, I love it. I love the fact that I hate him so much. The problem with having How as a villain, especially in this episode where you see him fighting the X-Laws, and I'm using the word fight very loosely, he massacred the X-Laws, who are meant to be one of the favorites for the Shaman tournament. But me personally, I don't know about you guys, I'm rooting for How in that fight. I don't feel bad that Mine, Denba and Kevin got murdered in this episode, but that's the problem that both the anime and the manga have. And because the anime is adapting the manga fully, the issue will be mainly aimed at the manga. Other than Marco and the Iron Maiden, we don't really see the other X-Laws interact with one another to really see what their character is about. We know that Marco is a prick because we see him on screen. The others don't have any screen time, so how can you feel bad for characters dying when you don't really know them? We should have had scenes where Lyserg interacted with the other members of the X-Laws instead of just Marco and Jean. We know that there are strict rules when you are part of the X-Laws, but because we only see Marco being brutally harsh on Lyserg, it just feels like the rules only apply to Lyserg because he's the new guy on the team. What's the culture of the X-Laws? Are they laid back and eating dinner together when they're not training? What did they do in their spare time? We don't know any of that. We see How and Yoh's group when they are chilling, but we don't ever see the X-Laws on their downtime. When Lyserg was crying, I felt bad for Lyserg because he is a caring person and he is also one of Yoh's good friends, but I was more excited to see How kill those guys rather than feel bad for the characters being burnt to ashes, which is a problem because you're supposed to hate the main villain, not like him or have him be one of your favorite characters. How is doing the killing, but he doesn't feel like a villain. Marco being a bastard to Lyserg makes me hate him more than whatever criminal act that How will ever do. I think fully committing the X-Laws into becoming one of the main antagonists in this series would have been a better way to raise the stakes in this series, because then you would have had a group of villains the fans would actually hate. I can't wait wait to see them dead, rather than having a charismatic villain like Hao, where you would instead root for if he is fighting against any other character in this series. The fight scene was really good, but not as good as the scene when Hao kills Lily Rara, but still very good nonetheless. The soundtrack, I'm sure, would be on everyone's playlist when it's released because it's just perfect. It captures the unstoppable feeling of Hao. He's a force of nature and no one can stop him. But for me, my favorite scene has to be when Yoh almost slices Marco's head off. That was just so badass and cool. You have both the main villain and the protagonist be so damn likable and charismatic. You also have Marco and the Iron Maiden, who you just hate so much because of their hypocrisy and bullshit. It would make sense for them to be another group of villains rather than being the morally grey group. Not good guys, but not bad guys either. But yeah, the scene with Yoh was my favorite scene. In the manga, there are some small changes. Manta in chapter 138 wants to call the police because Hao was just so brutal. And in chapter 139, Yoh confesses that he is sick and tired of being angry all the time. Which makes sense because both Hao and the X-Laws killed their opponents, and Yoh witnessed them both do that in their shaman fights. Which was the reason why Yoh was pissed at Marco and said he doesn't like the way they do things. I can't lie, Yoh rejecting the Iron Maiden's offer did make me laugh. I'm not gonna lie about that. But enough about me. What did you guys think of this episode? Comment below your thoughts in the comment section down below. This has been Shady, the tribal chief of the Shaman tribe. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the Shaman tribe.